Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you listen to this program. I bless you all in the mighty name of Jesus. It is my pleasure, Dr. Regine, that's who I am, to come to you today with a new broadcast, a new theme that I want us to discuss about parenting time to learn. Today we're going to be talking about the duty of care. And today I'm not going to be alone because I've got two surprise guests. Well, surprise. Okay, I'll tell you at the end who the guests are. But let me just start with the definition of the duty of care, because many people think that they do care for their children when they give them love that is over and over and over. And I've heard some parents telling you how they know their children more than anyone else, but actually they are doing everything that is wrong and not preparing that child for the future. Now, I want to speak a little bit about the definition of the duty of care. What is the duty of care? And before I even give the definition, I just want to let everyone know that in societies that have laws and rights that are trying to protect children, there are laws, just like in the UK where I live, there are laws that are there to protect children. And there's a law that is called duty of care. And that law was voted and enacted after many things happened. And that law dates back from, I think, maybe 30 years ago, or even for about 30, 40 years ago, something like that. Why? Because social services and people could see that some parents would neglect their children. And then they needed to remind parents that they've got a duty of care. But before we go even into the law, I want us to go to the basics of the basics, which is what God the Creator did when He actually uh, decided that He wants to give parents children. Look what the Bible says. The Bible says that in Psalm 127, verse 3, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him. So a child does not belong to you. A child belongs to the Creator who created you. So you are supposed to keep that child because that child is a gift, and God wants you to treat that gift as a gift. When we have some precious gift, what do? Some people put the precious gift in a safe so that people would not touch that gift. Some people make sure that gift is not polluted, it's not, the value of the gift is not lost. And that's what we should do with our children. We've got gifts when we have children, and we need to make sure that we protect those children. We have to protect them the right way. And that's where the duty of care comes into place. Now, what is the duty of care? The duty of care is to make sure that the child that you have, your children, that their needs are met. Are you meeting the needs of your children? Some parents think that providing a child with, I would say, money, food, or a roof is that they are caring for them. No, the duty of care is much more than that. And I'm going to break down what I mean by the fact that the duty of care requires much more. The duty of care requires that the welfare of the child becomes important to the parent. And how? Because when it is important to you, when the child's welfare is important to you, it means that you mind about what they think, you mind about their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health, their emotional health. You mind about all that at once, so that when you are trying to fulfill your responsibility as a parent, you actually provide for them, paying attention to everything that you need to cover, which actually enters in the duty of care. Now, how do we really understand the duty of care? We understand the duty of care as parents when we can actually contribute in building a positive relationship with our children. When you build that positive relationship with your child, what you do is that first, you don't ill treat them, you don't assault them, or you don't expose children or your child to behavior that can actually harm them physically, emotionally, spiritually, or any kind of harm that will stop them growing to become a responsible adult or someone who is balanced. So we need to understand that the duty of care is important. And us as parents, we've got a great responsibility in ensuring that the duty of care is applied in our household. And one thing that we can do as parents, and to provide that duty of care is actually by bonding with our children, bonding and having an affectionate relationship. An affectionate relationship that prioritizes the child by giving them the time that they need, by listening to them, by being friendly but not friends. I'm going to develop that in a minute, because what a child needs is to see models, is to see a model that is portraying a behavior that is appropriate for them to copy, because a child will follow what you are teaching them. And that's what the duty of care is. So, as I said earlier, the duty of care is not only to give the child food and a roof, and then you say, okay, I've done all and it's fine, they are good. No, you need to provide for them to build actually an adult, because a child is meant to become an adult. So to build an adult who in the end will be able to have values, core values in life, that are respect for others, sharing good practices, doing things that are capable of bringing them to be responsible in the society. We are living in societies where many children don't even know how to respect adults anymore. And this comes to the fact that at home, they are not shown the boundaries. They are not shown things that will keep respect. So if a child cannot respect the parent, why do you expect that child to respect someone outside of home? You see? So, and that is where we, the parents, have to come back and say that we have done wrong sometimes. We are doing things that exacerbate, that makes worse the situation of our children. But it's easy for us to point fingers and say, well, it's the society that's not providing for me and my child, or this or that. But we all can be in a place where we can give the children the basic needs, the basics that they need to be built up into people who are responsible, who know what life is all about, and who know what to expect from life. But if we don't, from the basics, if we don't, from the foundation of our education to the children, give them the duty of care, they would not in turn be able to care for others. And unfortunately, we have seen that. And I can speak here with my experience as an education advisor, because I've worked with families where I've seen broken families just because the parents still don't know how to stop and be parents, because they have actually broken that part of care because of the way that they start caring for their children, which is totally wrong. You see, we're going to see a bit more in a minute. But before, I would like to introduce my guest, my special guest. Ooh. Now, the first thing about the duty of care, which you're going to hear me saying much, is about the fact that if we fail in educating our children the right way, sometimes it's just because we don't listen to them. That is the reason why I thought that my first guest today should be my children. Haha. So I'm going to introduce my children. Jules is 17 and Bertrand is 21. And I have been with them mostly alone. I wouldn't say that I was a single mother, because the father, being a diplomat, I would say Bertrand lived with the father until he was I mean, Bertrand had a home with mom and dad when he was 3. And after that, when the dad started going, he did not have a home where we were the two together. So what I'm trying to say is that they lived in a place where, with a single mother, really. Not a single mother, I would say a mother who was alone. Yes, because the father was still there as much as he could be. Now, Jules has never had the opportunity to know that. And I'm going to speak a bit more about how you tackle these differences, because emotionally they are different. There are many things that you can do for children, but don't think that they all react the same way. And that is part of the duty of care. You need to deal with everyone individually. So they're gonna give their opinion. I did not actually prepare them. I only told them that I would like them to give their opinion on what I am preparing today. So I'm actually as curious as you right now. It's going to be interesting. I hope I'm not going to hear things like, hey, no, it's going to be interesting. So they don't really know. I just told them I'm talking about the duty of care, and I would like them to give opinion on how they think they were cared for. So let's see what they have to say. And then after that, I will now speak more and develop more on the duty of care. Well, it's also time for you maybe to share and call people to hear, because this program is not for you to just listen to it and say, okay, I've got more information, I have learned. Actually, that's what it is. But there are also other people there who are parents who are struggling with their children, who need to hear a bit more, or who need to learn, just be educated, or who need to get more information or know a bit more about what's going on in their own lives. If today I can speak, it's not because I can pretend that I have been a very good parent. No, what has actually built me up is the fact that I am an education specialist and I worked with broken families where children were very difficult, and that actually helped me to educate my children better. So I gained experience through other people's experiences, and that's what I want to share with you in different forms by bringing my experience as a teacher, my experience as a mother, and my experience as an education specialist. So I'm trying to bring those observations in a way that can build someone up. Maybe that's the time for you to start sharing and call people to listen, even if they've got children. If they don't have children, they can learn and maybe avoid making mistakes in when they start having children. So now let's listen to Bertrand and Jules, and then we carry on. You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you hear me because I had to add myself as a fourth person. Okay, well, we're gonna go now. So basically what I would like us to discuss is, what would you say duty of care? Okay, not what would you say the duty of care is, but how as children did you feel you were cared for? Because I believe that sometimes we don't ask our children how they feel about how we care for them. So what would you say? Let's start with the eldest one, Bertrand.
Um. So, so how I felt actually, right?
Yes, how you feel you were cared for. But now you're 21, but you can speak up to now from childhood. How do you think it went? How do you feel you were cared for as a child? And do you think that it was beneficial for you? And do you think that as a mother, I understood your needs and I cared for you the way that showed I listened to you or understood you? That's actually the question.
Okay, I see. Well, as far as I remember, I think in terms of care, like it was definitely like, I guess, okay, I think it's easier if I explain from like younger to like, it like starting from the like youngest age to like now, I guess. But when I was younger, from what I remember, it was like already clear that like there were like boundaries of things I can and cannot do, but they were established out of care that allowed me to like have an understanding of what is right and wrong, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
like it's like, for example, when I was a child, when I was misbehaving, like it's like I wasn't so it's like one of the things that I remember clearly is like when I was younger, and you would always give chances. It's like the first time you give a warning, and it's like if I don't obey the warning, then there were consequences. And then naturally, I think growing that like up like from that experience, um, that was something that was very instilled within me, like even till this age. It's like there are consequences to your actions, but it's like you gave chances, which allowed me to mature, because it's like I would want to avoid doing wrong because I know there'd be consequences to it. But at the same time, like you also gave a lot of freedom in the sense of sometimes there were situations where you may have known that like the consequences may not always be good, or like there were situations in which like I wouldn't have any, like I wouldn't know like what the consequences would be, but you'd allow me to go through it, learn from it, and then you would help me and like make sure that that doesn't happen again, if that makes sense. So you gave a lot of free, like from experience from when I was a child to now. It's like it was definitely a lot of care and like even interest in my studies and things like that. You were there to guide me in the right direction a lot of the times, while also giving me like from what I remember, it was like you always like guided me in the right direction and corrected me whenever I wasn't doing anything that's correct. But it also gave me time, like space to develop myself, if that makes
Amen.
sense. So, and it's like naturally, and whenever it was like, that self development, if I wasn't going down the right path or something, you'd always give me advice, or you'd tell me, or like would have a sit down and would talk. And yeah, I think like in terms of care specifically, did receive a lot of it, but at the same time, it's like you gave the space to allow me to develop in a way that's um good, I guess, to build myself as well. So I think there was
Okay.
a strict boundary, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, Jules, what would you say? Well, you're still a teenager, so you're still being very cared for. So, what would you say, especially with your memory of how you've been growing? How would you say, do you think you've been cared for? Uh, I mean, in keeping with your needs, because everyone has individual needs, and caring for someone without knowing their needs, we can't really care for the right way. So, what would you say about that?
I'd say that for wait, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. I'll say that for my like earlier years, it'll be very similar to Bertrand because I mean we grew up obviously in the same household, so like his things about like getting extra chances and then having a consequence to your action, that applies to me too. But I'd say later on, obviously I think around the time when I went into high school is when mum started like really getting into she was a church founder, so she had a lot more responsibilities on her. So I found myself having to be a bit more independent. Not to say that she didn't care for me, because she always made sure that I was fed, had soft, like I always had like everything I needed. It's just that I had to grow more independent and also understand how like important her caring for me was, because it just showed how like despite all the responsibility of the church, having her job, even just being like a single mother, like she would still like make sure to care for me and my brother. And like I said, I can't like think of a time where I felt like I wasn't cared for, or that I was like wasn't appreciated, or I wasn't looked after. And yeah, that was most of my experience. It was just obviously I had to I as of the way I am now, I think result in me being a bit more independent in the way I act, but I still very much value the care that I get from my mother.
Okay. Thank you for the feedback on my on the mom that I have been. Glory to God for what I hear. But I've got one question, because I think that well, as you said, I'm a founder of a church and a lot of responsibility out of home, and sometimes people don't understand that you need to have a kind of balanced way of being with your children. Would you say that I was strict? Do this, don't do this, don't, like very, very strict, or just the right balance? Or would you, how do you feel over the years of actually? And I know that the one thing I've been very, very mindful with you is about the way you spend money. You see that I always pay attention that you're doing the right thing, the right time, and the right way. And when you didn't, sometimes I cut down your money, or I have to make you do some more house chores to get some more money, things like that. What would you say about those things? Some children may find it like, oh, mom is that's too much, or they might find it very, very difficult to deal with. Maybe we'll start with Jules.
Um, well, for you, what you're saying, that's all I've really known. So for me, it's a normal thing that you do something, you get rewarded for it. You don't do it, you don't. So I'll say that's my experience with like how you're managing and like basically showing us the importance of money and how and rewards in life, like later on in life. And then about like you having responsibilities, I'd say that more so it's just shown me that like I had to, like I was saying before, that I had to be independent, and that I had to realize that despite the fact that you had all these responsibilities, that regardless of that, you're gonna have to now start putting more trust in me and Bertrand, obviously, being the older brother, to basically like be able to care for each other and care for ourselves too. That obviously you can't be everywhere at the same time. So we have to learn how to kind of fend for ourselves, kind of make sure that we can manage ourselves well, apply the things that you taught us before like you founded the church, and make sure that we carry that throughout our lives really. And that's just, I think, helped us grow into people that we are right now, really.
Okay. And Bertrand?
I agree on most of like on everything that Jules said. Also like I guess like when I like at least when I was younger, so like I guess you could say you were strict, but not. I wouldn't say like over controlling. You know, strict within reason. Which I think, like even reflecting on it now, I think was definitely a good thing because it allowed us to be disciplined in. So by the time that you like, gave us more freedom and allowed us to be more responsible, I think like early on, the fact that you were strict in the sense that, like do this at the right time, do your homework at the right time, Sundays you have to do this, like, those types of things. But I think that helped in like allowing us to be responsible and mature later on. So, and naturally, which is why it's like even now, like like whenever I go out, I always tell you where I'm going or whatever. I think that like things like that is a product of like how you brought us up when like back then. So I wouldn't say like strict in like the negative sense, like over controlling or like I wouldn't say that. No, definitely not that at all. But strict in a way to guide us in doing the right things. I think that's the best way I'd phrase it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, guys, thank you for your feedback. And now I can let you go with your games and whatever you want to do. I'm sure you're busy. It's holiday and you did very well with school. So I'm not going to take much more of your time. Thank you. I just wanted the feedback. Of course, it's not a feedback about me. It was just to be able to show many parents that it is important for them to stop and ask the children what they think. And I believe that sometimes we have meetings where I asked you questions about what do you think? What can we do? Even just traveling, we sit down. While our trip to Japan, it was actually your choice. And I said, okay, I'm just going to accompany you. I didn't impose it on you. I take into account your needs, I would say, your desires. And I believe that that's all I wanted to show, that it's important if we want to care for someone. Caring is actually sharing the same common things that the person have, and sometimes it's even things that they may not have in common with us, but it's about just leaving the person to be first, prioritize that moment. And I believe that this is one thing that has kept us going as a family. And even in the age that you are right now, I think there was very, very long time ago, we used to have in your rooms, you had this board. Do you remember? Ticks and crosses. Who remembers that? The ticks and crosses. And then guys, I like where you had to shout at each other because if someone left the socks on the floor, it's going to be like the two of you will be punished. Things like that. Who remembers that?
Yeah. Of pain.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm. You had the board, and the thing was every weekend you'd come do your inspection, and then like if one of us had messed up with both, like had the consequences. And it was like making sure that the room was tidy, or I think it was like house chores as well. Oh, it started with the room, and then it was house chores actually, if I remember. So there was that, and yeah, I think it lasted for like what? It lasted for a bit, but then after that, it kind of made us like more like clean, I guess, in terms of cleaning up. So then I think it was scrapped after that. We didn't use it anymore. But like,
that's it.
Yeah.
That's actually the purpose of setting rules, not for them to be carried all over your life. It's actually when it starts working, we stop. That's exactly what I'm trying to show here. Just like I remember, there's also time like I will come in your rooms, in your room, and say, "Guys, open your phone check." Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that was years ago. Yeah, but yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So all this is all to show that it's what we call duty of care. Thank you so much, guys. We leave now by God's grace. I pray that God continues to grow you in the knowledge of Him and that you can actually become the young man that He wants you to be. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Amen.
So I'm going to be on my own right now on this show. Wow. Very interesting. Very, very interesting that this discussion has already given me the opportunity to start with my first point, which actually was written here and my children didn't know. And I just think that it was important to have their opinion. And as I said earlier, it's about listening to a child. If you want to care for a child, you need to make sure that you listen to their needs. And it's very important. And what I loved about what Bertrand said, it's about the fact that a parent should not be over controlling. And Jules also spoke about self development, that they felt they had a space to develop. That's what actually I'm receiving from what the children said. Listen, this is not that I'm trying to portray that I've got perfect children who know what was good for them or who know what is good for them, or that I knew or found the right formula. Because you see, I am aware that every child is different, and every child, the way we deal with every child is different. So even though they came with the same kind of things, it can be different. And I am very aware of the fact that there are children who have emotional, mental difficulties, issues that cannot enter into this category. Then at that moment, the parent, you need help, you need support, you need specialists to help you with that child. So do not get me wrong. I am not minimizing the works of specialists in the areas that I need it. I'm talking about children that we can educate, we can bring up in a way that is healthy, in a healthy environment, in a healthy way. Those children that sometimes we don't know how to deal with them. And it's also about the way that we actually, as parents, sometimes fail with them. Now, what my children said brought me to this point that I had written here, because there are parents who think that loving a child is doing everything for a child. I've seen that in my capacity at work as an education specialist, where parents give everything to children. I say everything. I work with, I remember a long time, a mother who, the child was 17, I guess, yes, 17, 16, 17. And the child, if you see, the chairs in the house were broken, everything was broken. And then one day I came, the mom did the sandwich to this child, gave the sandwich and threw it on the floor like this. And she went and take it back. And then she went to do another one. And I'm like, he's 17. I said, listen, this is, at that moment, I didn't say anything really. I was just observing, because that's also my role, to observe, and then later I can give my opinion or or write whatever I need to write on my report. But what I'm trying to say with this kind of situation is that, where did it go wrong? Where? In that home, there was not only one child, there were two. But why was this one behaving that way? Of course, children can be difficult, but maybe there's also something that the parent were doing wrong. A child, you push my sandwich away, you expect me to do a second one for you? For what reason? Well, people may say that, yes, that's not love, but I will tell you something. Tough love is love. Love that builds a child up is love. Love that teaches a child boundaries is love. Love that says to a child no is love. Because if you don't teach the child kind of stuff, what would they do later? They will think that they can just go around life and do whatever they want. That is the reason why such children, and the one I'm talking about was on drugs, because they don't have any form of education in them that teach them that they cannot have whatever they want, when they want it, and how they want it. Now, when they reach a place or a time where they cannot afford the things that they want, what would they do? They go on drugs. They go on every quick money they can find. Any quick fix is better for them. But you need to teach a child that there has to be stops. There has to be, just like when we are driving, we don't just drive. There's a point of time when there's going to be a traffic light stopping you. If you don't teach the child to read the traffic lights in life, how would they go around this life? Because there's, whether you as a parent, you want it or not, there are going to be traffic lights. The traffic lights can go green for them to go forward. Another time it can go amber for them to start thinking they need to stop, and it can go red. It means stop. Because if they do not stop, they will fail and they will go into difficult situations. But now, what do we as parents do that bring children to fail in those capacities? First, because we repeat our mistakes. We speak to the children the things that we went through. We go through what we went through and it becomes experience for us, and then we think that we can just give them to our children. My friend, let me tell you something. When you were born, the internet was not there. Your child now is born with the internet. So there are things that you cannot think, you cannot even. I remember last time I was talking about VHS, and my son who is 17 was like, "What is that?" you know, you see. So he does not understand what is VHS. What do you expect him to understand of your kind of education? You see, so it means that you need to navigate, you need to work with your child based on what he is on, which is the society he's living in. That is where you need to take the things that he's going through, he's learning from his friends, he's learning outside of your home, and now you tackle them in a way that you give them core values, the values that will carry him through life so that he does not imitate the bad things he's learning out of your home setting. But what is worse is that many children, if they misbehave, they didn't learn it from outside. Some parents say that, oh yes, since my child started going to the nursery, he has become this, he has become that. I will tell you the truth. My children did the same. I remember once sending my children to somewhere, and then one came back banging the doors all the time. As soon as I noticed it, I stopped it. Why is it my children has never insulted? Didn't they grow up? Didn't they grow up among other children who are insulting? Well, because this first and last time that they did it, they had a correction. That's it. So you cannot, after 5, 6, 7 years, come and say, yes, they're doing it because they learned it from outside. Outside has no filter. At home, you should impose the filters. You should impose what can be done and what cannot be done. That is where the duty of care comes into place. If you now repeat the mistakes that you went through this in your past, that's the reason why the child is going through this now. No, my friend, you are just transposing, and you are actually putting your head down on the sink because you don't want to see the reality that you are actually failing that child right now. But it's not now you're going to feel the consequences. It is later. Because when the child becomes 17, 18, 19, it becomes a bit too late. But when a child is still up to 13, I'm telling you, you still have enough room to bring back the right education. Because after that, even the friends are not very influential at 13. But from 16, 15, 16, they become very influential. Because let's say from 16, a child is not forced to go to school. So you lose total control. And this comes with the fact that we repeat the mistakes. I went through this and now my child is going through this. No, it is not something that going through because you went through. It is something that can stop with you. If you have that in your mind, you have to make sure you stop it. It's not because you were neglected that you have to use it as an excuse when your child is saying that, oh, I feel neglected. It means that it's only simply meaning that it only simply means that you are not listening to your child. Let me give you an example. I remember my child telling me once or twice that whenever he hurt himself, I did not care for what I would do for the other one. When the other one hurt himself, I would take the plaster and put, but when it is his turn, I will actually tell him, go and get the plaster and put the plaster on yourself. And the same child once another time told me that, why do I always call him weird? Okay, when he told me about the plaster, I realized that, wow, so actually it means that he's been observing. He's been thinking about it. Now I had to change. Of course, I gave him an explanation that day, but the fact is, I had to change. I had to actually assess myself and think, wow, if my child can see this, it means that it affects him. It may be hurting him. So instead of me justifying myself, leaving it like that, and not taking measures so that he doesn't feel rejected, he does not feel that I always take care more of the other one instead of taking care of him, you see, I would actually make him feel worse. So I had, as a mother, as a parent, I had to correct myself. And that's what we need to do. We have to be humble enough before our children sometimes and just accept that they've got a judgment on us too, on the things we do. When he told me that I called him, I thought, oh yeah, you are right. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. Of course, I justified myself that moment, but I've never done that again. Because if he can tell me this, it means that he feels something about it. When I say it, he feels something about it. You see? So not taking a measure to stop it means that I'm not listening to his needs. I'm not listening to what he's telling me. And then I continue and then I continue. So that is not the duty of care. The duty of care starts with when you start listening to a child. You need to listen to the child's needs. You cannot cater for someone's needs if you don't know what their needs are. One of my children, sorry, may be more emotional than the other one. So if the one that is emotional is telling me that he's being hurt in his emotions, I need to pay attention when I say things and I do things so that I don't hurt his emotions. So you cannot just work and then move on and then continue, because it is not now that is going to affect him the most. It is later. It is later in life that whatever you have done to exacerbate what the child is telling you, to make it worse, to make them feel worse about it, even if they don't voice it out, that is what is going to be stopping them in life. That is going to be a problem for them in life. So we need to understand that you cannot repeat your mistakes, the mistakes that your parents or your carers or whoever was around you did on you, on your children. That was another time. That was your experience. Don't make them live that. There are people who, because they were rejected in life, when a child speaks to them, they want to justify, well, I was more rejected than you are. I love you. I'll do all for you. My friend, you have not listened to the fact that your child is only telling you that they feel rejected by you. That's all they're saying. They don't tell you. They're not asking you to go in your past and see how you were rejected, to see how you behave with them. They're only telling you that what you're doing to them, they don't like it. So if someone does not like what you're doing, change, whether you're a parent or not. Okay. Now, another way we fail as parents, we fail our duty of care on children, is when we overprotect them and we over control them. This is what my children spoke about. Over controlling does not give a child space to grow. It does not give a child the tools for tomorrow. Over controlling and over protecting. You're not teaching a child to make their own mistakes and to correct them, to know that in life you can fail, you can make mistakes, you maybe you have to start all over again. You're not allowing them to grow, you're not allowing them to self-develop, which is a word that my children use, and I'm going to use it today because I think it was really right on point when it comes to why and how do we fail in our duty of care. Now, what do we do to stop failing? We need to teach them core values. We need to teach them the things that they need for society to work out out of any issues that can arise, but not that when they are in trouble, they know that you're going to jump on it. You see, I've seen children where the parents do everything for them. 13-year-old who cannot cross the road, 13 who cannot go to school by themselves. And when they're even offered the opportunity to, the parents are there with them. We need to understand that it is dangerous for the child, not for you now, because you as a parent, you think you are protecting the child. But now, God forbid something happens to you. What happened to that child? What happens to that child who's 13? What will happen to them? What will happen if that child grows up 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, they still don't know how to cross the road because you do everything for them? What will happen? You see, first of all, they don't know how to go out and cross the road. They will be scared of people. They will be scared of everything. They will be scared because actually that is what it is. And it's interesting because we will think that the fear of people comes from people, but we won't see that we cause it by overprotecting them, not allowing them to do the basic things that they should do in their age. That is a core issue in the lack of giving appropriate care to a child. You need to let the child listen. When the child wanted to start walking, he didn't ask for your authorization. They will just stand up, and sometimes they will knock themselves down, bang. They will knock a table, bang. They will knock a wall, bang. But did they stand up or did they remain seated? They stood up. Knowing that I just hurt, They were ready to hurt again. But now, when a child becomes conscious about things they can do, why would you as a parent stop them? That's not the duty of care. If you care for them, allow them to do like when they started learning how to walk. You see, some parents stop the children, and that develop children who are mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually unhealthy. When I say unhealthy, is the least, I would say, the least appropriate word here. I want you to say that those children are dangerous for tomorrow. They're dangerous for society. A child who does not know how to take care of himself, what would that child do later? If they don't know how to take care of themselves, they won't know the boundaries in life. They won't know the traffic lights in life. And then what would they do? They will violate the law. They will violate the rights of all the people, because they will think that everything should be given to them, everything should be done for them. You see what we are creating as parents sometimes? We need to understand that you cannot overprotect a child. Even in your home, there are people who were sleeping. You wake up the next morning, you go, the person is dead. So what do you think you can protect? The Bible teaches us that. And I said it, what Psalm 127 verse 3, children are a gift from the Lord. It is God who gives you the child. You need to make sure that you give that child to God. Simple. Let him help you with that child, but don't try to over control. You cannot control the life of that child eternally. It's impossible, because first of all, you are not eternal. You're not eternal. And that's how we are creating monsters in our societies, because we lack the duty of care over them. We lack providing them with enough tools for life. We lack giving them what they need, because we are giving them what we wish, what we desire. You need to give your child what they need. You need to give your child what they need. We need water. We don't need Coca-Cola. We need things that will carry us through life so that we will be well fed spiritually, emotionally, and we can go through things and handle things without sinking. That's what a child needs. A child needs more of your time. A child does not need more of all the latest fashion, especially people who do not even have the means will be the first to use the little they have to give the children. Why? They don't have enough time to provide bonding and affection. Bonding and affection needs to be provided to your child so that they know that you're prioritizing them. How do you prioritize a child? Through your time, not through money, not through material things. You prioritize a child by showing interest in what they are doing. Is it that you give a child an helicopter or a jet when you cannot even attend a school meeting with that child? Do you understand? Duty of care is as simple as that. It's not just giving. It is about showing the child that you are taking interest in what they're doing. A child has an activity that they like. You cannot help them promote it because you don't have time to take them there. No. We need to be parents who know what the duty of care is. Contribute in building a positive relationship with our children. That's what you're supposed to do. How do you build a positive relationship with a child if you don't show them that you listen to them, that you care about their own interests, and that you are trying to have a bonding relationship, an affectionate relationship? And I'm going to speak in a minute about affectionate and friend. Being a friend to your child. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So we need to really understand how important it is. Because when a child knows that you are there for them, you are giving them time, that child will be respectful. That child will understand people. That child will understand that you understand their needs, and they will also understand that other people have needs. But a child that is overprotected, over covered by things, you cover to actually hide your lack of interest in them. Well, that's what it is. You may say it is not, but it is. You see, you are giving them all those things, and that is what many parents have done now. They have used the screen, time on the screen. They have used it as an excuse not to be with their children. I will tell you something. My children, until I think year 10 or year the one who's 17 is in year 12. It's only this year at the age of 17, that he was allowed to be able to go on the screen after school. Other than that, they grew up with all the games. They had Xbox, they had everything. They had their individual, how do you call it? PS4 at that time. They had all those things. They had it. Yes, it was both. It was at home. They had everything that a child needed. Okay? And now they have even more. But despite having that at home, they were not allowed to go on the screen until Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, no. They were allowed from Friday after school, Saturday, not before 11 o'clock because you need to do your house chores of the weekend. Then they were also allowed to play in a Sunday until maximum 6. Maximum 6. When I was generous, 7. Then a child could not miss school and be late or be tired or whatever. And this I'm talking until the age of 17, which is year 12. You see, we like as parents to give ourselves so much excuses. They're my children, my house, my rules. I wanted them to be good in education, and I'm not going to provide them excuses not to do well in education. I want them to have a good night's sleep. I'm not going to provide them excuses not to have a good night's sleep. Who bought those things? Me. So who is in control of them? Me, not my child. You see? But now, what did I do? I made sure that I have time for them. And that would allow us bonding. That would allow us to communicate, to speak. Because their attention is not all the time in what? Screens. Why do people give screens or whatever, what I call screens, all the games, video games, whatever, to children? It's so that the child will be busy with themselves. And then the parents is busy with themselves too. And the two never meet. And the bonding never takes place. And affection is not there. You don't even know when you're losing your child. Because you think that having provided those things to your child is a good thing. No, it's a fashionable thing. Just like giving them shoes. But the fact is, those screen time is robbing quality time that you can have with your child to build them up. Because your responsibility as a parent is to make sure that you are building a positive relationship with your child. It's not the child who has to build it. When the child starts answering you in a certain way, you want to remember that you didn't build that relationship with them. You want to remember that you were not there when they needed you, because you left their education on the screens. You were with friends where you're not even controlling what they're saying. That's how some children become violent, because they play violent things and they think that is the reality of life. But you see, even though you're controlling what they are looking at on the screens or whatever they are watching, the fact that they're on the screen, the day you remove it, how many parents will relate to that? The day you remove the child, you've got a crisis at home. Because you are giving them too much. You have not given them boundaries. A child will wake up, the screen is near them. Why? Why? The child must go to school the next day. Why do they have a screen? Why? If a child is not responsible enough to manage that, remove it. It is your duty of care. Remove it. If you learn, if you have taught them what it is and that there are boundaries into the time that they can use, that's the reason why I've never had a crisis with any of my children over, I want to play now. Even now. And I will tell you that it's because of the lockdown that I actually was starting allowing my son to be on the games this year. Otherwise, it was still going to be Fridays. It's going to be Fridays until he finishes. See? But now he showed me that he's responsible enough. So I allow him to do so. The school has never called me that a homework is missing or things are missing. So I allow him to do that. He's going to year 13. He's responsible for that. So and his work at school is good, so he can do it. If that wasn't the case, he won't do it. You see, and my children were like that. If they misbehaved, I could skip that Friday, and you have to wait for the next Friday. You skip the whole weekend. You see, you want to be controlling. Well, do a controlling that will build them up. You want to overprotect them. You don't protect them from screen, but you protect them when it comes to doing house chores or when it comes to learning tools that will help them to live with other people in the society. Well, you see where we go wrong. Now, it brings me to the next point. Friendship with children. My friend. A parent is not a friend to a child. I remember once, even as a spiritual mother, someone asked me for a skirt that they liked. I gave them and they thought that I was going to take it back. I said, no, you're keeping it. Thank God I've got boys only. But if I had girls, if you take what you like, something I have, I will give it to you. I'm not taking it back. I don't want you to think that I am your friend in a way that we can exchange our clothes. Nah. No. If I want to give it to you, I'll give it to you, or I say no. Simple. Because you see, when a child starts seeing a parent as a friend, there's a boundary that is broken there, which is respect. This is respect. And it will go both ways. That's where you see parents speaking to children things that they should not. Parents making children believe that the other parent is the devil. That's the friendship. You see, you can be divorced, you can be separated, you can be without the other person, but you don't have to show the child that the other person is the devil. Why? Because you see, what happened to you with that person does not necessarily affect the child. And most of the time it affects the child because of what we, the parent, are teaching the child. See, you don't have to discuss the little moves of your life with that child. You should not discuss with your children the little moves of your lives. And I'm speaking to women, especially women, because men are a bit different in this. They're even more, I would say they're wiser than women sometimes. Because women, when a woman is single, a woman is single and she has children, she's always quick to introduce a new man to the children. Do you know what you're doing there? It's lack of care for the child. Because how many women did that and then the relationship did not work? For 3 months you were with Matthew, then broke up, and then after some times you were with Mark. Then after some time, the child sees you with John. After some time, the child sees you with Luke. Those who read the Bible have understood. Hallelujah. So the child has been seeing you with different people. But now, what are you teaching that child? First of all, that this is a life that is normal. And then when that child reaches 15, 16, and they are very sexualized, you don't know where it came from. You think that they were looking somewhere else. Well, they picked from you. They picked from you. We as parents are supposed to contribute in educating our children and building up our children in a way that they model appropriate behavior. Why is it that you are in a relationship, you don't know where it's going? You don't know. Unless you start talking about marriage, you should not introduce your child to different people. You should not. Why? Because what the child is seeing will affect their judgment of you and in life. If they see you partners, how would you explain to them, especially when you're a Christian, that they should wait before marriage? How can you explain that to them? How can you explain to them that a relationship has to be about commitment and not just go and test drive people? You can't, because they have not seen it through you. You have portrayed a negative image of relationships, men and women, to them. Let me give an example. Long time ago, I used to have a friend. She went to live in Canada. She went to live in Canada. Sorry, my head. She went to live in Canada, and we were three. There were three of us. The three of us had our children in the same primary school at that time. So this lady, it was the birthday of one of my sons, and I invited her two sons at home. And this other lady had a girl and a boy, and I invited them. And so all the children were there. There were other children as well with them. Now, this one who went to Canada, first I didn't know she had a boyfriend. I didn't know her private life. My friends, I was there serving because it was for my children's birthday, so I was serving them. This child, one of them, I don't know who it was, started telling the other children about her mom's boyfriend. I'm telling you, his mouth was open as if you have put popcorn in hot oil. By the time the lady came to pick them, I called her in the kitchen. I said, haha. So you've got a boyfriend. So you quarreled last week. So this, so that. Well, she was black. I believe if she was not, she would have become red. You see? But the fact is, was it the child's fault? No. And the child was saying how before that there was another person. Che. So was it the child's fault? No. It means that, first of all, you discuss things before the children. You speak your private matters before the child, and you show them. So now, unfortunately, you've got a child who is a talkative one. Your whole life is outside. She was so ashamed. I said, well, you know what? Your child was there. Did anyone ask him anything? Because I don't think that these children at this age are interested in all these things. No. But it was just like bang, 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 like popcorn, popping, all your life out. I said, listen, he can go and do the same in school. He can go and do it anywhere because here, why did he do that? These are the kind of parents who think that the child is there. You can speak whatever you want. You can behave however you want. Well, you're going to also have to bear the consequences of that. You see, it happens in many homes where parents, they share everything with their children. I remember a lady in my work, this is my capacity at work, that I saw it. Even going shopping, I'm going this, I'm going that. Okay, I want to go shopping and do this. And then the child's like, no, I don't want you to go. I was like, whoa, hold on. Is that your husband? I said, you are asking permission to your child to go out? I said, why? I said, so the roles have been reversed here? So you're going to go if the child wants, and if the child says no, you don't go? Why? You see, you are giving, I said, you are giving so much power, so much authority, so much control to your child because you are too friendly with them. I said, don't mistake affection with friendliness. You've got to be affectionate with your child, but you're not your child's friend. You have to remain a parent here. You've got to do what you want to do. So if your child says, don't do, you don't do? I said, what kind of life is this? Are you in prison in your own life? You see, we do that and then we complain. We complain about the child, but we don't complain about us. It's us, parents. We have reversed the situation because when you make a child your friend, that's what you do. You come to their level. So the adult is who there? Where's the adult? You're sharing your problems with your children. As for me, I don't share my problems with my children. It's actually when I have sorted the problem that I let them know that, oh, yes, I had this issue. You know what? I sorted it out, glory be to God. And then, but it's not even like that. If it's something that they shouldn't know, they don't know. There are many things they don't know because they are children. But it's something that concerns them, that can affect them, I can share with them, but not even when I am going through it. Because I don't want my child not to have a sleep because I'm not able to sleep. Duty of care, my friends, is deep. Let's be very careful. There are parents who allow things with their children that there has to be boundaries. There have to be boundaries. You see, even myself, listen, I've got boys. I was this kind of person that I would come out of my bathroom on, sneakers or whatever, or even, just walk out with my towel or whatever. When I started noticing that my children are becoming teenagers and this is the time where they are going through puberty, they can, look at things differently. I I stopped. I stopped. Their parents, I remember recently reading about the primary school somewhere in the UK, where the head teacher wrote to parents saying that they should not come to school with their children in the morning dressed like prostitutes. And he is right. We are sexualizing our children without knowing we are. And then we will be surprised to see that lots of young girls, 13, have children here or whatever is happening around. We will always blame others. But I'm telling you that whatever is coming from outside has less impact than what is done inside, which is at home, in our household, in our family. Let me give you an example. You see, if a child is neglected outside, they don't really care about it. But when they are neglected at home, it affects them more. Simple. A child, whatever is happening to them outside, yeah, it hurts, but it's more on the surface. But at home, it has a long-lasting effect. It will affect them, and it can affect them for life. You need to work with your child in a way that builds the child up, not in a way that you are helping them and they're not becoming anyone. You cannot always excuse your misbehavior as a parent, your inappropriate behavior as a parent on the society. Because actually, at home, that's where you filter and you correct the mistakes that they learn out there. And that's the duty of care. The duty of care does not allow a parent to become a partner in crime. If your child does something wrong, I remember when my child had a fight at school. As soon as he told me, I blamed him, I corrected him. I said, let me call the school. Oh, yes. Let me call the school. I'm not going to be a partner in crime with you in this one. Do you understand? I know the school has rules. And of course, I defended him before the school so that they don't exclude him. I said, listen, I am the one who came to you. If I did not come to you, you wouldn't even know that this happened. Therefore, I don't want you to exclude him. I have already managed and talked with him and did whatever I need to do. I said what I had to say. But the fact that I did that is a key message to my child. Don't ever think that you will go and do something wrong and I will hide you in my room. Oh, no. You have to bear the consequences of your action. That's the message I gave him then. If you're trying to hide your child by becoming accomplice in crime with everything that he does, my friend, wait, 5 years on, 6 years on, you will be suffering and crying over that child. And many parents have failed on that. You saw the child doing something, you start hiding it, you're hiding it. My friend, I will expose it so you don't do it again. I will expose it and then you won't do it again. When you become a partner in crime, it's because you're too friendly with your child. But if you had remained on the part where you're just a parent, you would not let go of anything. Because you think that you know your child so much that you want to deal with that on a private basis. My friend, I could have dealt with my child for fighting in school in a private basis without taking it to school. But I said, you know what? This one, if I leave it, one day you'll go and do another one. You know, and knows that mom is going, no. I have to kill it. Kill the beast before the beast grows. Simple. I hope I'm helping someone today. Now, I want to talk about families now where maybe you've got a child that's already gone wayward and things are a bit difficult. How do you apply the duty of care? And for that, I'm going to give you an example, a proper life example that happened where I came across a family where I spoke to the children and I spoke to the mother, and it was a ping pong in that family. Bang, bang, bang. If you are there, it's like missiles. Boom, boom. You think like, I can't play the game, my friends. I don't know. They did not speak. They shouted. Bing, bing, punchlining each other. That's all. Like kind of negativity. No, you could see there was no relationship. And I spoke to the children too. What is interesting is that I spoke to them separately and I had the same answer. The answer was simple. Well, anyway, she loves her husband more than she loves me. She loves us, actually. Which means that the children had had time to speak together. And that was what was in their mind. That the mother loves their dad more than she loves her own children. And now the children were growing with that. So whenever the mother opened the mouth, it was a missile coming from the mouth of the children. So even if the mom is trying to be pleasant, like let's laugh, it was a sarcastic answer from the children. See? So I approached the mother and said, listen, I think you need to apologize to your children. Oh my God, the person became so angry at me. I said, listen, I didn't want to say what the children told me. I just wanted the mom to find out by themselves. So I said, you need to apologize to the children. Because we think that going to God and say, Lord, I ask for forgiveness is enough. No, if you hurt me, come and ask me forgiveness first. Even the Bible says that in Matthew 18, verse 15. Go and see your brother and apologize to them. We always go to God, Lord, forgive me, forgive me. God is not going to forgive you when I'm still hurting. You see, because we are saying, God, forgive me. He will forgive you, but the fact is that I'm here thinking, Lord, you see what that person did. I'm still accusing you. And God is like, so you need to first ask there before you go to God. Anyway, so I said to the person, listen, your children feel a certain way about you. That's the reason why you need to approach them and know what is happening. Because what I'm observing here is that you've got no relationship. There's no bonding. There's no affection. So there is something wrong. Try and correct it. And this is where I want to tell you that if you're in that position, you need to make sure that you go and apologize to your child. Ask forgiveness. Well, it's not going to hurt you to humble yourself and say, you know what? By overprotecting you, I actually hurt you. By trying to make you avoid getting through certain situations, I actually did not teach you the right way. Because now I can see that you're struggling. It's easy to go and say that the society is hard, things are hard, no one has been around us to help us. But I will tell you that if God gave you that child, He gave you a gift. He gave you a gift. And He expects you to get a reward from that child, not sorrow. So it is you who did not manage to use that child with whatever God has given you without looking at external sources. It is you alone. Therefore, that's the reason why I say you need to apologize to the child. You need to humble yourself and say, I am sorry. You are where you are here because I failed. I failed in something. I failed in the duty of care. I failed by becoming too friendly with you. I failed by overprotecting you. I failed by not giving values in life. I failed by making you believe that you are in this situation because your father left you, because you were abandoned, because you were neglected. I failed. Yes. Then now you can turn to God and say, Lord, build me up. Build me and my child up. Bring us back up. Because we are down. It's not the child who was meant to educate himself. It is me who was there to educate myself. Listen, so this person that I said this to didn't do it immediately, but it took 2-3 years. 2-3 years. Until someone else told them the same thing. And then they did it. And today, the person has such an amazing relationship with their children. I'm not going to go far. It was my sister. Was my sister. She got angry with me. She didn't speak to me for about 6 months. So I can tell you when I come here is to share experience. Now she has an amazing relationship with her children. Amazing. They are friends. They share things together. At that time, she thought that I was trying to steal her children. I said, glory be to God that I've got my children, because you would have said that it's because I have no children that I want to actually take your children and show them that I'm a better mom than you. But no, the fact is that the children had shared their deep concern, their deep feeling to me. And the problem was that my sister was not listening to them. Whenever they wanted to express that, she wouldn't listen. And this brings me to my conclusion today. If you want to care for someone, you need to listen to them. You cannot care for someone without listening to what they have to say about what you're doing and what you're saying to them. The duty of care starts with catering for someone's needs, meeting their needs, not meeting your own needs. Your need is to overprotect, but the need of a child is to feel I would say, independent. So you need to find a balance there in a way that they can evolve, self-develop, to learn from themselves as well. Support them, guide them, lead them, show them the way, be with them, but don't suppress them. That's the duty of care. So I want you to understand that sometimes we just have to put ourselves back into what God wants us to do. If you're not a Christian and you're listening to this program, it does not change to the fact that you need to contribute in building a very positive relationship with your child and show and demonstrate to that child that they need to become someone in society. And that starts with you modeling the right behavior to them. The behavior that will build them up, not the behavior that will kill their future, kill their character, kill their desires, because you want to put yours in perspective before them. The welfare of the child has to become your priority. The welfare of the child is not just about feeding them with food, giving them a roof, giving them money to buy things that they don't even know what the value of those things or the value of getting money. You're not teaching a child the value of getting money, but you get them all expensive things. You are not giving them core values in life. You see, my child, who is 21-year-old now, he knows. He has been managing his own money for a long time. Where I am here, I don't know how much he's earning. It's none of my business as a mother. He's been working since he's 14. I don't ask him how much he earned. And even at this age, sometimes he wants to buy or lend money borrow. No, I always make a mistake, borrow or lend. Give his friend who asks him to give him some money and he will go give back. Borrow money to someone. Once he came and said, "Oh, mom, this friend wanted me to borrow him some money. I think I'm going to do it." I say, "Okay, if you think that they will give it back to you." But I'm not over controlling to say, "No, don't." No, he's just informing me. And I trust his judgment. So there's going to be a time when, as a parent, you need to start withdrawing from the life of your child. Give them appropriate answers, appropriate guidance, and move on. You see, there's a scripture that says that love is not suspicious. Every time that a child does something you're suspecting that they are doing wrong, you have lost their confidence, my friend. And indeed, what you are so much scared of is what you're going to see. So we need to learn as parents that contributing in a good relationship with our children is what builds them up, because that's the duty of care. And we need that. We need to ensure that we listen to them. My friend, listening does not mean speaking. Many parents speak too much. Now, listen to your children. If you want to develop care, the duty of care, and provide for them the right way, you must listen to them. Stay blessed in Jesus' name. I hope it wasn't too long today. And I will see you, hear from you, end of August, the last Monday of August. And in the meantime, drop me a message, inbox me, give me your comments. You know, I have started this to give advice, to inform, to bring knowledge. I'm not perfect. I can make mistakes. Anyway, I'm actually trying to say here that hearing from you helps me to build myself up as well and improve this program with whatever I'm going to bring. Next month, I'm going to have a guest as well, by God's grace, and we're going to develop another topic. I still don't know which one. I'm going to see in between, but I think that's it for today. And in the meantime, drop me a message and make sure you share the message as well. Share it if you were blessed. Share it even if you know someone who might need to hear this, because you know what they're going through, or they're a new parent and they need to hear more about parenting. Share it. That's also how you are there to encourage me. In fact, that's what I'm trying to say. Just try to encourage me. Encourage me to the best that you can. That's the only thing I'm asking for now. Stay blessed in Jesus' name. See you very soon.